Hello and welcome to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Jessy Ratfink and Adam Mackey. And tonight we have a special guest. You might have seen him making projects using pencil crayons and not colored pencils. And when he isn't making, you can often find him riding two wheels on the mountains in the wild territory of the Yukon. He's currently rekindling his relationship with hand tools in his second rendition of the 30-day Dovetail Challenge. Welcome, Preston Blackie from Urban Workshop. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
Good.
happy you're here.
Yeah. So why don't you tell anyone who doesn't recognize your name what you are and who you do? No, who you are and what you do.
So my name's Preston Blackie. As Grant said, I live in Whitehorse, Yukon, and I am Urban Shopworks, which is I'm a hobby maker on YouTube and Instagram. I started Urban Shopworks in 2017, and it's been a fun ride. I like woodworking, metalworking, 3D printing. Recently got a CNC. All things wrapped around making and learning about making is kind of what I'm into.
Yeah. For those who haven't followed my channel a lot, but who might have seen it, is Preston was actually the first person I ever visited as a maker. I went to the White Horse. I went to White Horse for my work, and when I went there, before I got there, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if there's anyone in White Horse who's a maker on Instagram." And so I looked up the location, and I was like, "Hey, I'm coming there. Can I stop by your shop?" And Preston was nice and said yes. And then after meeting me, he still is talking to me. So it must not have.
You know what's funny, Grant, is you're the only person in the maker community I've ever met in person.
Yeah,
whoa, fancy.
You're kind of far from everyone, so I can understand that.
Yeah, it's not easy to go to all the maker festivals and fairs and everything that are out in the world.
Yeah.
Why are they in a different country or something?
They might as well be when you live in the Yukon.
Yeah. Well, one day you should make it to Maker Camp down in the Catskills in New York. I know it's a far place to go, but it's a fun weekend, or make it to a Maker Fair, or even, you know what, Maker Central. It'd be pretty cool to see you there.
Yeah, it would be fun to do one of those one day. Maybe I'll put it on the itinerary.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, I think it was 12 plus hours of travel to get from my place to your place, so I couldn't understand you not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this week we wanted to talk a little bit about something that Preston has a lot of experience in, and so does Jessy. But we wanted to talk a little bit about Etsy because in 2023 we wanted to talk about, is Etsy still a viable place for makers to make money? And we know a few different people. Like, I know a few people that Etsy is still their place where they make a lot of money, but they have really niche products. But, I know we've had people, Preston and Jessy both have experience making money and potentially not making any money on Etsy. And we thought, I'll throw it over to Preston because I think he can start it off.
Okay, so I think the best intro for this is I'm going to tell you guys about my origin story, about how I even ended up on Etsy. And that'll lead into kind of where I'm at today with it. So I own another business, and that is my primary source of income, and it's a commercial painting company. And I've been doing that for like 20 years. And my business here in the Yukon it keeps me very, very busy. And it got to a point where I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for years. And it robbed me of my ability to put time in with Urban Shopworks and make the content and everything, which was quite stressful because I love doing the YouTube videos and all of that. But I mean, one of the main reasons that I got into doing content in the first place was to create some sort of a passive income. And when I wasn't able to put the time into making the videos anymore, I decided to shift the focus of Urban Shopworks from content specifically to products. And the products that I want to sell are all digital products. Because I live in the Yukon, shipping it's not even an option. It is so expensive. Canada Post is you can't deal with it. It's too much money. So I can't sell anything and ship it out of here. I would lose all of my money if I did. But I like designing 3D printed files. I like designing CNC stuff. I like the furniture plans, that kind of thing. I really enjoy doing it. That's one of my most favorite parts of the whole maker experience for me, is designing this stuff. And so I've been selling digital files on my website for 5 years, like ever since I started Urban Shopworks. But how I got into Etsy is like 2 years ago. There's you know how YouTubers put out videos about how they, like, I made this much money on YouTube in 2021. You know those videos, right? So there's one YouTuber who's in our space. I'm not going to say his name, but he puts out videos every year breaking down his revenue from YouTube and all of his revenue sources surrounding his making business. Right. And I find these videos incredibly fascinating. They're super interesting because I want to know what is the potential that you can do with this business that we all have, right? So I'm watching this and I'm expecting the usual, like, here's my ad revenue breakdown, here's my sponsor revenue breakdown, and all of this. Right. And then he's like, here's my Etsy. And I'm like, Etsy? The hell is that? So he goes into his Etsy. He shows what he's selling on Etsy. And this guy doesn't have a website. He only has an Etsy store. And he's selling digital files, build plans, right, and then a few 3D printed objects, like physical products. And then he busts out the number. And I'm like, what? like that's real money. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I should check this out. So I go onto Etsy and I start researching it, and I set myself up a store, and I'm like, I got all of my digital files on there, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know where this is going to go, but there's people clearly make money off of it. So let's give it a go. And 48 hours later, I was perma-banned and they deleted my store.
Whoa. Wow.
So I don't even know what happened, but because I didn't want to ask too many questions before, but how do you go from nothing to perma-banned so quickly? What did you do?
I wish I knew. I think I know what I did, because I did something. 5 minutes later, I was banned. So I was editing my listings in my store, and I thought, well, it would be really cool if my YouTube video of the desk that I built for these plans was linked to this listing somehow. But you can't really do that in the listing. You can't have a website. And I linked my Urban Shopworks website in the description. And I think that's what got me banned. It triggered something in their algorithm when I did that. But there was no warning. There was no, hey, you've been flagged for whatever. It was deleted, gone. It's like I never existed on there. I couldn't log in anymore. I couldn't get contact support because I couldn't log in, and you need to log in to contact support. Like, it was as if I just had never done anything on that platform. So I got really mad at it. I was pretty discouraged. Like, I certainly didn't set out to break any rules and get myself into trouble. I wasn't looking to get banned or cause any drama. And it felt like it was kind of unfair that there's not even an explanation. Like, hey, this is the rule you broke. Don't break this rule. Like, you can't do this. There's nothing. And to this day, I haven't confirmed that that's what did it, although I suspect that it is.
So I had something similar happen with eBay. They contacted me out of the blue. I had like an eBay account, and I'd had one for a long time, and they deactivated it without telling me. And so I went and tried it. I was going to sell some old comic books or something. So I tried to make a new account with using my old name, and they wouldn't let me. Whatever. I was like, okay, I'll just make a new one with a new email. And then I didn't end up listing anything because life got in the way. And 6 months later, they contacted me and said, well, what are you planning on listing and selling or whatever? And I was like, well, like some old stuff that I have. And I was like, but mainly I have the account for buying stuff. And then they just permabanned me. This went, your account is banned. You're not allowed. And I was like, what? So I contacted the support, and they're just like, you violated our terms. And I was like, well, what term did I violate? Well, we can't tell you. Like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah, how are we supposed to improve?
Right. What I was like, did someone hack my account and like do something bad that I don't know about? Because I'd literally not bought or sold anything with that account. And they permabanned me. So I feel you. It's happened to me with this, and I wasn't even doing anything. So, anyways. Continue. Sorry.
I have never had that happen on Etsy, but I know people that it's happened to where, yeah, one day they have a shop, they're doing thousands in sales. The next day their shop is gone, just completely gone. And their customers have no way to contact them about orders that are pending. Like there's so much mess. I think that is the thing that I hate most about Etsy is that they moderate very harshly, but it is like, I don't know how they decide who to moderate. Because when you look on the site, there's so much stuff that isn't handmade, that is obviously a blatant ripoff of somebody else's IP. And all of those are fine, but occasionally they'll take down like a very large store because a company asked them. Like I was reading about the Disney Mickey Mouse ears kerfluffle today, about how they've shut down some shops, but then they're still like one of the best sellers on Etsy and a lot of people are profiting off of it. It makes me really crazy that we know they have the tools to moderate without human interference, but they don't actually apply the tools in a way that makes any sense whatsoever. And the fact that you can't really contact Etsy, I've heard that you can call them now, but I also hear that they hang up on people all the time. So it's just such a mess.
I got hung up on by eBay when I called them.
Oh, no.
I wasn't. The big problem is I went to buy something, and that's when it happened. I was like, I'm finally going to use my thing. So then I had to just check out as a guest, which is like so ridiculous.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
eBay has turned into something completely different because eBay is trying to like compete against Amazon and Etsy and all that with they're trying to attract people to not do auctions. It's like the whole thing started as an auction website. Now you don't want to do auctions, but it's the same thing. Like Amazon's trying to be Etsy, Etsy's trying to be Amazon.
There's no originality anymore.
Well, and have y'all heard that they're thinking of a new feature on Etsy? I don't think they've released it yet, but they're going to allow people to bid on items. So they're going completely backwards right now.
How's eBay trying to be other websites when eBay was the original?
Well, because they're trying to be Amazon. Because eBay used to be just auctions.
But eBay's trying to become Amazon, but eBay was around before Amazon. So Amazon should be trying to be eBay, but somehow Amazon has taken the lead, and now eBay's trying to become Amazon.
Yeah. I think there's unfortunately not a lot of used market. Like the eBay market is actually like smaller than Amazon's market. Clearly, like, people go and buy new stuff all the time. They don't go searching for used stuff unless it's collectible or whatever, or handmade.
Yeah, or something really expensive that you can get for a little cheaper. Like, I know my partner Tyler has sold some of his sim racing stuff on eBay because,
Yeah.
you can sell it for just slightly less than you paid for it, and people will buy it immediately.
Yeah. Okay, so back to Etsy. 48 hours in, you got permaban, but from what
Permaban,
I
yeah.
understand, you now have an Etsy shop. So what happened? What did you do?
Changed my email. Changed my email a year
The
later.
obvious.
I sat on it for a year. I was pretty mad. I was like, okay, I'm done with Etsy. Like, stupid. I already have a website anyways that makes sales, so who cares? How good could Etsy be? So a year goes by. Same YouTuber puts out his yearly earnings report, and of course I watch it because I love this stuff. And his Etsy number was like double what it was the year before. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, I could swallow my pride. I can suck it up, and I can try and get myself back on there. I wonder if I can log in. So I used a different email and managed to got logged in, created a new store. Did not link my website to any of my listings. Smart. And I to this day, it's been like started February of last year. So this is my 13th month on Etsy, and everything's fine now. So that's good.
And now but now you can't find you on Etsy because you're not linked.
Well, I don't. The interesting thing is, like, I don't advertise anywhere at all that I'm on Etsy. Like, it's just,
Right.
I'm just on Etsy. If you look for a product that I happen to sell, I'll come up.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, if I'm high enough in the algorithm, I'll come up. But like, I don't have Etsy linked on any of my social media. I don't have anything linked on any of my YouTube videos to my Etsy store. Like, I don't have anything on Pinterest linked to my Etsy store. Everything is linked to my website. So Etsy is a secondary source of traffic and sales for my products that I wouldn't get off of my website, because to go to urbanshopworks.com, you have to have heard of me, or
Right.
you have to Google something that would lead you to me. And if you don't know who I am, you've never seen my YouTube videos, you're not familiar with my Instagram, and you search like plywood desk plans on Google, like, I'm way down there. You're not going to find me. So having an Etsy store, like, they say that they have 50 million visitors a month on that website, like, it's incredible. So Etsy brings you traffic just for being on there, which is the primary reason everybody does it.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, that's why I've stuck around. I mean, it's just a totally different audience than what you would typically get, because it's just people who are like impulse buying on there instead of Amazon now. It's real wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because if I go to someone's like urbanshopworks.com, I don't trust it. No offense. If I didn't know who you were, I'm not going to trust it. But if I go to Etsy and it's Etsy/urbanshopworks, I buy from there, right? Like, so it has like this level of trust, which is nothing because I bought from Etsy and got screwed.
Yeah, it definitely gives credibility, but not everybody deserves that credibility.
I'm fairly certain the only people that ever buy anything off my website are some level of fan of the channel and already know who I am. Have seen my video, at least seen one of my videos, and the video has led them to my website or Pinterest. Pinterest is actually the number one traffic source for urbanshopworks.com. Yeah. And I've been low-key building a pretty good Pinterest following completely by accident, because I had no idea what I was doing for years and years and years. I was just posting photos and videos, and like, I've got videos with over 1 million views on Pinterest, which is like, huh?
When did you start on Pinterest?
Maybe 4 years ago. But I didn't take it seriously. Okay. I didn't take it seriously at all until like a year ago, because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't understand what the point of Pinterest was. It was like, okay, so you make a picture of a cool thing and you put it on there, and people can like it and they can save it. But then what? Like, I didn't get it. And then this, like with all these social medias that are out there that are available to us as makers, you can only put so much time into each one, right? And so Pinterest was like, I don't get it. I don't understand what you do with it. As a creator, where's the return back to me? And then I kind of did a little bit of research and realized that, the return it's a traffic source to a website, to whatever link you want to link anything to. That is a traffic source. So if you're selling a product, you link that product to that pin, and as soon as people click on it, it's brilliant and it works extremely well. And as soon as I figured that out, then I was like, oh, okay, I got it now. Watch this.
Right. Well, that's like Austin from High Caliber Craftsman. He says Pinterest is his number one driver of his products, right? His pens, it's Father's Day, Pinterest blows up, people looking for some sort of Father's Day gift, and then it all goes over to his website. When I do a Google search for anything, I include minus Pinterest. I hate that website.
I used to link my YouTube videos to Pinterest, and I was just to try, because I thought, well, let's get more views. I mean, that's the thing when you first start YouTube, is just trying to get people to watch your stupid videos. And I'm sure it worked to a degree, but once I figured out that you link every one of these photos and videos to something on your website, and it's going to drive people there, and that's where you collect the money. So Etsy is, like I said, it's a secondary source of revenue for an audience that would not find me otherwise, and that's my primary reason for using it.
So I set up an Etsy about a year ago, and I've made 0 sales. I just went to my page, and it says that I'm currently not selling anything on Etsy. And then I clicked on my name, and it says, sorry, the member you were looking for does not exist.
No.
So I think I got permabanned.
Yeah. Oh no.
And I know why I got permabanned, because I paid. I didn't actually pay, but I paid for, you pay to get boost your sale, boost your listings, and I never actually paid the bill because I got nothing from it. Well, I'm not paying when you didn't even get me one sale. So they've obviously banned my account because I didn't pay the bill.
Etsy's going to come after you, send you the creditors. You're not going to be able to
$30.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what $30 of. Yeah.
Give it 5 years and it'll be gone anyway.
All right.
So that actually leads into an interesting point that I'd like to make, is that when I started my current Etsy store over a year ago, knowing nothing about Etsy and how it works and everything, I thought, okay, make listings as good as you can for the knowledge that I had at the time, which I did. And then what? You just sit back and the sales just roll in like 50 million people a month. It's got to happen, right? No. So in fact, nobody sees your shit in the beginning.
Nope.
You're lucky if you get, for the first month, you're going to be lucky if you get one person clicking on your stuff. I mean, people obviously get lucky and have the right listing, and maybe they nail their keywords and their titles and their descriptions. But I didn't put any of that thought into it. So I ran ads. I was like, pay for ads, get at the top of the home screen, get at the top of the search, and that will get me the valuable 5-star reviews and the sales and the traffic, and then I can retire. And that's when I started losing money.
I was just going to ask if you had any return on that.
Fucking month, I lost money. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? How why does anybody, how do people make money on this? Like, obviously people do. I'm not. But I thought, okay, well, eventually it's just because I'm new and I don't have that many don't have that many listings in my store, and maybe I just have to suck it up and persevere and get through a few months, and things will start turning around. Maybe my traffic will improve. So I did this for all of 2022, and I did not have a profitable month on Etsy until November, and I started my store in February. And I didn't know. I mean, I was completely ignorant at this point. I'm just like, I mean, I wasn't losing tons of money on it. I would lose like 20, 30, 40 bucks a month. Like, I was getting sales and I was getting 5-star reviews, but between the cost of advertising and then the 20% Etsy fees that they tack on to every sale, it's like that was all my money. And I'm like, I don't fucking get it. Like, what the hell? I didn't know that there's a section in the Etsy ads page that you can see what listings are actually like. They actually break it down really well. What listings are actually getting sales and how many views they're getting from the ads, and what listings are selling based on the ads. And they give you like a click-through rate and all of the information. I didn't know this until November or December. No. Actually, it was December when I learned this. And so I'm like, oh fuck. So I looked at all my data, and like my number one selling item in my Etsy store was costing me like 30 bucks a month to advertise, because people would click on it, but they wouldn't buy it. But that item is still the number one selling item in my store. So it was selling like hotcakes. And I'm like, I don't like, how am I losing money off of the ads when people are buying it? And then I got to see that page, and I'm like, oh, it's because the people that look at the ad and click on it don't buy it. It's people that come searching Etsy for this particular 3D printed object, see mine, and then they buy the file. So it didn't make any sense to be advertising that specific item. And it just took me the whole year to figure this out.
And it's like counterintuitive to think the top selling item is the one you want to advertise, right? To try and get more traffic. Right.
Logic only states. However, not the case in this particular instance. So
you don't do any advertising on social media for it? Like none. Not any promotion at all? So that
I don't tell anybody. You guys are the only people I've ever talked to about this.
So wild. And I also started on Etsy in 2012. It was a totally different animal. There wasn't as much competition. There weren't as many resellers. It was a lot easier back then. But I basically promoted it through my Instructables and on Instagram, because I was able to build my hand embroidery page to like 10,000 followers. And that is the way that I became profitable. I was able to sell a bunch of golden snitch necklaces and a ton of embroideries just because people knew me from other places. But when I did pay to advertise on Etsy, I also just lost money constantly. Like I just don't, maybe there are so many people paying to advertise that it's still very hard to be visible to anyone. I'm not sure.
From some of the like Etsy guru videos I've watched, they really emphasize on how you have to optimize your listing. Like your keywords need to be spot on, and you can test your listing with one keyword. Like you can change a single keyword if that keyword isn't performing properly. Like, and that's honestly, it's a bit too far into the weeds for me. Mm-hmm. And now that the other interesting thing that I've learned since I stopped running the ads, I stopped running them in January, at the beginning of January, and my sales are up, my reviews are up, and I get way more visits now than I ever did when I was advertising, even with the ads. Like even with the inflated numbers from the ads, now I'm getting more of everything. And I know now. I know why this is, because I've been doing a bunch of research, and when you make an Etsy listing, it can take up to 45 days for that listing to rank inside the Etsy algorithm.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's not instant. And we're used to everything being instant. You put it on a platform, your thing, and it's up, and everybody can see it. And if it, like YouTube, if it's good and it has a good title and a good thumbnail, people will click it. Not with Etsy. It takes weeks for a product, a listing to kind of get a little bit of steam. And on top of that, it needs people to buy it. You need social proof, which takes time to develop. On Etsy, social proof is absolutely everything. Nobody will buy from you if you don't have any sales.
What's social proof?
Social proof
that
is
concept. Yeah.
Social proof is people have been to your store, they've bought your items, they've left 5-star reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, as a buyer, you go to a store on Etsy and you see that, oh, this person's made 1,000 sales and they have 500 5-star reviews. Like, okay, that means that this guy's products are on point. I can trust that I can buy from this guy and I'm going to get what I want out of the deal.
I should start looking at that.
Yeah, Etsy is all about momentum. Something weird that a lot of people don't realize about Etsy is that as soon as you stop selling and people stop clicking, you get demoted, like very quickly. Or if you put your shop on vacation mode, if you close down for a little bit, you have to restart from the beginning and build everything back up. So yeah, like when I was doing a lot of sales between 2012, 2015, I never went on vacation. Even if I wasn't around, I would just tell people it was going to be a little longer until I shipped their stuff out. Because they make you restart from zero constantly for any little thing that you do that they deem, I don't know, not handmade entrepreneur enough or something.
Yeah, and I've heard that a lot of people complained to Etsy or about it publicly enough that Etsy has said that they're not doing that anymore, which we all know that what a big company says and what a big company does are completely different things. But I have heard that they are trying to get back a little bit to the grassroots where they started with Handmade, but I know that it's unlikely that's going to happen.
Yeah, it is so overrun. There's no way.
Right. I think like what you're doing now and what Preston's doing with digital files and only doing digital files, you can't like they're instant, right? Like I buy a digital file, I'm getting it, right? Like there's nothing to it. Like there's no shipping.
Yep.
It's as close to a passive income source as you can get with this whole thing that we do. And, and it's a numbers game. The more things you have out there, then you have the more earning potential, which is.
So earlier you talked about optimizing your listings. And I wonder, is there should you have multiple Etsy stores?
You can.
Like if you have,
I do.
Okay.
So
I know other people like Chad's Custom Creations. He has an Etsy store for his boot jacks, and then he has a second. I don't think he does his boot jacks anymore. But then he had a second secret Etsy store. He wouldn't tell anyone. It was probably sex stuff, but sex paddles or something stupid like that. Sex boot jacks. But so he had two different stores because the theme of them was enough different that he didn't want them to intermingle. And what about you? What are your two different stores?
Well, he probably didn't want to tell you what the second store is because he doesn't want a rush of people going to it and not buying something. Because that can hurt you in the Etsy algorithm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But my second store has nothing to do with the makerspace.
Gotcha.
It's digital products, but it does. I'm not going to tell. I'll tell you guys the name off air, but it has absolutely nothing to do with anything that is associated with Urban Shopworks or or anything like that.
CNC.
It's mountain
auto
bike,
cut files.
mountain bike shit.
It's not mountain bike stuff. No.
Oh, okay.
It's digital files, but it has nothing to do with Urban Shopworks or
Cool.
or woodworking or making or anything like that.
I was wondering why your dollar amounts were so weird for your files on your Etsy store, and then I realized it's converted it to AU.
Oh,
like
it's in Canadian
$8
dollars on my end.
Yeah, it's like $8.91 and $6.37. I'm like, what is this pricing? Like,
Yeah.
If you look at it in Canadian dollars, it's actually very simple. I think everything is like $7 Canadian, $20 Canadian. Like,
yeah.
very, very simple pricing.
Even thinking about like Patreon, it's really weird. You can go into Patreon. It's like, oh, this one's $1.32, and you're like, what? Why is it $1.32? But thinking about Patreon, we should probably thank them right now. I want to especially thank our F-Clamp level patrons, Brent Jarvis from Clean Cut Woodworking, Vincent Ferrari from Digitally Creative, Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, Lawrence from Maritime Knife Supply, Rich from Low End Design, and David Wood from DW Wood Builds. I want to thank all of them and everyone else who contributes to our Patreon, because without your support, this wouldn't be happening. As I mentioned in the last show, Zencaster is now charging. Buzzsprout charges us. We got a website. All that, all the money that we get gets put right back into running this podcast. So thank you very much for all that. Anyone who wants to sign up, you can go to patreon.com/clamp, and you can get access to the pre-show and the after show, where maybe Preston will tell us about this secret Etsy shop he has to our loyal patrons. So we really appreciate it. If you can't do it, we completely understand. And if you want to share the show or write a review, that would be appreciated as well. And now, CLAMPmendations.
CLAMPmendations.
All right, my clampmentation for this week, a little bit of a cop-out, is a show called Your Honor. It's got Bryan Cranston in it, and it's really good. It's about his son's having an asthma attack and kills a kid on a motorbike with his car, and then has a panic attack and runs off, like he hit and run. But the kid that he kills on the motorbike is like the big mob. He's like his son. It's the son of the son of the mob, and so it's like all this stuff. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's really good. It starts off really slow, but it's so dramatic that it's so intriguing. It's becoming one of my new favorite shows.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna do another twofer. I'm gonna do the one I was gonna do last week. Marius Hornberger did some drill press upgrades, and just the upgrades are almost everything I've wanted. The main thing I want is, like, right now I have to like unscrew and screw in the little thing to adjust the table up and down, and he put like I think it's an air powered cylinder, I can't remember, that he just presses a button and it undoes, and then he can move it around while he moves it around with a thing. But if I could just have that, just that one thing is such a frustration when I use my drill press. If I didn't have to unscrew something and screw it in, and then you have to really fucking reef on it to make it so that the table doesn't move, and then the next time you try and get it off, and you're like, fuck. If I just had like a button I could press, that'd be amazing. And then the other one is like a little shout out, because we got a shout out. We almost got our name stolen from James from Fixed It Finger. Put out a great little video of him making pallets and shipping them all over the world, including Canada, where I delivered a pallet to an apparent Morley Kurt. So go check that video out. It's actually a really fun video where he pretends to be a palletpreneur.
Artisanal pallets.
Yes, artisanal pallets. So just for content creators. Yeah. Jessy, what about you?
So this week I am going to recommend another horror podcast, which is Mortem. I love them. They are very funny. It's a great show. There's never like any awkward pauses, or it's just, yeah, it feels very organic and nice. It's a brother and sister, and then the sister's husband are the hosts. And they do both current and kind of older horror movies. So, yeah, I really enjoy watching a movie and then listening to their take on it. They're fantastic. So, yeah, if you like horror, you should check them out.
Cool. Preston?
Okay, can I do 2?
Yep. I did, so
okay.
You can too.
Okay, so my first recommendation, I want to shout out another maker on YouTube who I think this guy's content is really good. And
you don't have to shout me out. I'm already on the podcast.
Well, you too, Grant. You too. But. So this fella, his name's Pierre. He's a Swedish maker. Is his YouTube channel, and
okay.
I've become a humongous fan of this guy's videos, and he is currently blowing up right now. I think I discovered him when he was at about 14,000 subs, and he's got a video right now that's probably going to hit 1 million views in the next week.
Wow.
And it's his first big video, and it's always fun to watch somebody come from like the beginning and watching them blow up. Like we got to watch Morley blow up. That was extremely cool to see. And watching Pierre blow up right now, he's got a couple of videos that are doing really well, and like his quality of his content is exceptional. He's got really good storytelling skills. The videos are entertaining, and I highly recommend everybody go and check him out. That's a Swedish maker. Damn. And then the other thing I want to shout out is you guys have heard of Colin and Samir, obviously. Mm-hmm. They have a YouTube course, storytelling course. And I just found out about this last night, and I bought it. And I spent the day actually taking their course. And I have to say, it's really good. Like, one thing that I've personally struggled with in all my videos is my storytelling. And it's something I absolutely want to get better at and improve upon. Just, it makes the videos just so much better to watch. And I've taken a few courses from a few different people, and this is by far the best one I've ever seen. It has the most actionable points. They lay everything out in a very easy to digest manner. It's with really clear, simple to follow examples. It is an excellent it's an excellent course. It's the first thing I've ever seen where I've been able to watch it and go, okay, I can do that. I can do all of these things. And I actually understand the premise behind why are they doing this the way that they are.
Interesting. Well,
yeah, that sounds really good.
I'm going to wait till you put out your next video.
Well, yeah, that'll be
if it's really, really good, I'm going to buy it.
Well, hopefully my next video will be good. Hopefully it is better than anything I've put out in the past. I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to always do the best with the knowledge that we have at any given time and build on that with the next one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is actually really cool because I've been thinking about different ways. Like, I felt like I know we talk about the taste gap a lot, but I've kind of felt like I'm in that gap where I can see how my video could be better, but I'm not good enough to make my video the next level. So I haven't been putting out enough YouTube because I've tried different things, and like if anything, I go, this is amazing, and I put it out there, and the world says, "No, it's not." And I go, shit.
Sometimes literally.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, I guess I gotta start from the beginning. So maybe I gotta look into something like that and spend a little money to make some money. But yeah,
you know, Grant, like I think we've talked about this. Like I told you that I deleted the whole first 2 years of my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
every video that I made for the first 2 years, and like 300,000 views gone. I think I deleted 7 or 8 or 12 videos. I deleted 12 videos off my channel that, and honestly, like they didn't have a point. Like I get, when you're new, you're keen about YouTube, you just want to put out content. So you put out whatever you can. And I absolutely was guilty of that. I was just putting out content for the sake of putting out content without putting a lot of thought and planning into the videos, just picking a topic and winging it. And like, man, the videos, they didn't have a point. They didn't go anywhere. You didn't learn anything from them. They didn't have really any entertainment value. They sucked.
Yeah.
But they were getting views, oddly enough. I mean, some of them, there's a couple that had over 60,000 views. But like, that's not what I want on my channel. I want my videos to have a point. I want them to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want to be able to take the viewer on a journey. And at the end, I'd like to be able to have a product that I've built that I can show off, whether it be something I'm trying to sell or just something a piece of furniture that I made a one-off for myself, and something I can be proud of at the end of it.
Right. Well, see, I always try and be proud of the video, but I know where your products actually end up. And if any of our listeners live in Whitehorse and want to find an Urban Shopworks, they can just try and go to the dump and find all of his old products.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there is definitely a little bit of building 2 and 3 things with my videos. I'm absolutely guilty of that.
Yeah. Well,
almost all my videos start out with 2.
Yeah, you may not get a fully completed thing, but you can get 90% of an Urban Shopworks project that he's just thrown out because he's decided, nope, that one wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me happy to do a lot of recipes because people eat it no matter what. So it's fine for the first 2 takes.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Ask Us Anything. And this time we've got one from another Canadian, and a northern Canadian. He's up, I think he's in Edmonton. It's Handmade it. And his question is, if you had to lose sense of taste or color vision, what would you choose? And I don't know if he knows that I don't have a sense of smell, so my sense of taste is altered. So I'd immediately just go sense of taste. I don't really care. I'd rather see in color.
So your sense of taste probably already is pretty non-existent as it is.
Right.
It's an interesting question. I always find these questions interesting, but the thing is, right, because it specifically says you had to lose one. Whereas usually I question, like, if you're born that way, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Right.
But if you have to lose it, that's the thing. Like, so having to lose, I already know what colors things generally are. So would I still have that memory? Even though I can't see it, do I know what colors things are? Like, I know grass is green. I know what green looks like and everything. I just can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Or would my brain eventually just forget? Like, could I not picture it even though I'm not actually seeing it, being that I've seen it before?
Well, is your vision still sharp even though you can't see color?
I think so.
That's an interesting.
I hope so, because I was going to say color vision.
Because if it was just being blind and sense of taste every day.
Yeah, well, that's what makes this an interesting question, right?
No, I've got my answer. My answer is sense of taste, because then I'll eat healthy because I don't give a shit what shit tastes like.
No, you won't.
So, KFC can go shove it up their ass if I can't taste it.
I guess that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Preston?
I'm sensitive. You could get rid of my sense of taste all day. I need my eyes. They're pretty valuable.
Wow. So I'm the only one that said vision. Okay. I don't know. It's also just like I have to...
Also because carnitine is disgusting and I'm sick of having to taste it every day. So,
but Jessy, think about all your embroidery. It would just look like nothing.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, like, outside of my art, my life is pretty monochrome. Like what I wear, and I just Yeah, it didn't seem like such a big deal, but now I'm starting to question myself.
I think
I don't know.
I think you and Preston likely have the same amount of snow.
Mm,
But
So you're just used to
yeah.
seeing white all the time anyway.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just white
exactly.
half 8 months of the
Dark.
year. Yeah.
There's no
I-
sunlight where we live.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's a
that's the
lot
only
of sunlight
I
up
feel-
here, thankfully.
The thing is, though, like even just seeing pictures and stuff, like you would never see anything beautiful again.
Well, there's
I don't know. I think
and
black and white is very pretty, but yeah, it just depends how good the vision is in black and white.
Yeah.
Well, that's also if you ever look at like the Three Stooges or Lucy. I love Lucy. All was black and white. They always wore like when you see pictures of the behind the scenes, what they were wearing to try and make it stand out in black and white.
Yeah.
To really bring up the contrast.
Yeah.
But real life
Like-
isn't going to do that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question.
Do
Yeah, it
appreciate
really
a good black
is.
and white photo, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right.
thinking when I made that decision.
So here's a little thought to something to think about. Would you rather lose your sense of taste or your sense of smell?
So I don't have a sense of smell. So I would think I would rather lose my sense of taste. Because I don't have the sense of smell. But then you'd use a porta potty and you'd probably be like, I changed my mind.
What, see, this is the thing, right? Color vision is not a sense, really. Vision is a sense.
Right.
Color vision, but if you were to lose one, doesn't that heighten the rest? So if you were to lose taste, wouldn't smell then be stronger? And therefore,
It's not exactly like that. It's you start relying on the other ones. But when it comes to taste and smell, you don't rely on those enough. Not like vision and hearing where you rely on them more.
I also have a bit of a cop out because I don't really eat much. So losing taste, I only use it like 5 minutes a day, really. Like in full, I probably only have things in my mouth for about 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm sure that's true, Mr. Glory Hole. I don't know. Anyways, just to wrap this up, I think Andrew's son did a little thing for cancer last year where he made a bunch of blacksmithed a whole bunch of cancer ribbons, and they were available through contacting Andrew on Instagram, and they're going to start that up again, and it's definitely something that you should check out. I got one of them last year, and obviously it's a good cause, and his son is, I think he's like 10 or 11 or something. Like, he's pretty young to be doing this and doing that, and I think he raised $1,000 last year for charity. So if you just give the money, like, it's really cool that he's doing it. So you should go message Andrew and at Hatchmade it, and tell him that's cool and all that fun stuff. Yeah, we'll have a link in the description. I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. I want to thank Preston for coming along. Why don't you tell everyone where you can find all your stuff?
I'm Urban Shopworks on Instagram, Urban Shopworks on YouTube, Urban Shopworks on the internet, Urban Shopworks on Facebook. That's it.
That's it. UrbanShopworks.com.
Urban Shopworks.
And on Etsy somehow.
Etsy, Urban Shopworks store.
The store.
Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. Okay.
Yeah, and then in the after show, we're gonna find out this
We'll
secret,
put the secret
urban
one in the show notes.
secret non-urban Shopworks. Anyways, thanks a lot for coming along. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I had a good time.
Hey.
All right, after show time.